Good morning, my friend, and welcome to the Pastors Podcast on Friday morning. Coming to you from the home office today as we end out the week here in the Oklahoma City area. Beautiful day outside, kind of cool on the cool side. I checked the weather this morning, 3 more days of warmer weather, and then it bottoms out. And so, at least it does for me. Anything below 70 degrees is cold to me, but it's going to get cold the next few days. And so here we are trying to serve the Lord, and God is in charge no matter what time the year it is, and no matter, get this now, what the temperature is outside. God can do it this weekend. Looking forward to a great weekend for God to do something mighty in our church this weekend. Had a good day out yesterday, soul winning, and then last night visiting some people and that have been coming to the church, and I'm excited about what God's going to do in our church in the future as we're going forward. I had a great conversation with an older preacher yesterday, and boy, I enjoyed my time talking to him, just picking his brain about some of the old things. And I say older preacher, he's 90, I think 94 years of age, and God used him in a mighty way. I like talking to those old preachers. They give you ideas, they help you out. And I'd say I'm 56 years of age now. To some, I'm starting to get there, but some of you younger preachers would be wise. Stop talking to your peers. Get a hold of these older guys, pick their brain, find out some things that God used them for. You're going to find if all they say is one statement that can help you, I'm telling you, it'll help your church, and that's what we want to do. And today, I want to talk about how to fill God's house. That's what we all want to do, isn't it? The scripture says in Luke 14:23, and the Lord said unto the servant, go out into the highways and hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. Now, everyone enjoys being in a church that is full. Now, I know that's a relative term, but even God enjoys being in a church that is full. God makes it clear. He says, I want my house to be filled. That's what Jesus said. Now, God does not want an empty house, because an empty house shows a failing or dying house. Now, ought to be the passion and drive of every believer and pastor to be sure the church house is filled. Now, in this parable, the Great Supper, Jesus shows several things that we can do to fill his house, which is the church. So let's look at that, and let's see how you can help. First of all, you must have a vision to fill the house. Now, if you don't have a vision for it to be filled, you won't have a drive to fill it. So if you're okay with an empty church, you will never push yourself to fill it. So empty seats ought to bother you, not just as a pastor, but even as a church member. Empty seats are seats that could be filled with a lost person who is about to get saved, if you'll have a vision for that seat to be filled. You ought to pray when you see empty seats. God, fill that seat. You'll always have an empty church house until you get a vision for it to be filled. When I took over the church here at Maranatha, we had a lot of red pews, and people would come to me and say, "Can we replace these red pews?" I said, "The best way to do it, let's put people inside these pews. We won't see the red." You know what? That's what we did. Now I'm in this new auditorium downstairs. In fact, we just added several seats to the downstairs, because our downstairs was always full every service. And so I've added more seats downstairs because I want the house to be filled. And upstairs, of course, our balcony, we use that every Sunday, because the downstairs is practically filled every Sunday now, even with these extra rows in. It's amazing. It pops up like that. But you have to understand, you got to have a vision for it. Second, it does take hard work. So you're not going to fill the house if you don't have hard work. I don't believe vision is the greatest reason the church house is not filled. I believe a lot of preachers have a vision for their church to be filled, and so do believers. But I believe it's not filled because most people don't work hard enough to fill it. Most people want to play instead of work, but working to see people saved is much more beneficial to eternity. Every church that has been filled has done it with hard work. You cannot fill the church with people if you're not willing to work hard. Third, it takes diligence to fill the church with people. Jesus told us to go out quickly and to invite people to the church. Now, you've got to be diligent to invite people to church if it's going to be filled. If you keep putting off inviting someone, it'll result in the seats being empty in the church. Every person has to be diligent. If you're a church member, be diligent about inviting people to church. Every church could be filled if every church member diligently invited people to church. This is what I found. God blesses soul winning. But if everybody was inviting somebody, you may not get your visitor this week, but somebody else will. And if everybody just keeps on working at it, you'll have your visitor some week, somebody else will have theirs another week. But we've got to be diligent about this thing of inviting people. You cannot do it. So that's the third thing you got to do. Fourth, you must go after everyone to fill the church. Now, excuse me, stop qualifying what type of person you want in your church. Just fill it with whatever type of person that God will give you. Now, whatever crowd comes is the crowd that you should invite. Now, sometimes we only go after one type of crowd. You got to go after everybody because you don't know what crowd will come. You should invite everyone to church. When you go after everyone is when you find someone to come with you to church. We have an 8 o'clock or 8 a.m. service in the morning. That's we call it the highways and hedges service. That's for our homeless. We bring in the homeless at 8 o'clock. And my desire is that the old gospel auditorium is filled trying to preach to these people. You say, you're just after numbers. Call it what you want to, but these people are getting saved. They're getting baptized. And I'm watching some of them turn their lives around. My friend, it works. But you got to have a vision and you've got to be diligent and you have to go after everyone. Fifth, make it compelling for people to come to church. Now, there's nothing wrong with having something that compels someone to come to church. Jesus compels people to get saved by telling them they can go to heaven if they will accept his payment for their sins. Now, people in this parable, people were invited to a supper. So certainly the Pharisees will be critical of giving something away for people to come. But if they hear the gospel, whatever was spent on the giveaway is money well spent. Can I say it? Can I just tell you, simply put, what is the price of a soul? So having promotions to compel people to come is not bad. Also, having a church program, a program of excellence will help compel people to come. You have to understand people don't want to go to a church where you're rattling around and no one's doing anything. They want to hear a good music program. They want to hear good preaching. They want to have good teaching. They want a sharp building. It ought to compel people to come. So not only have the big days that you push that compel people to come, but when they come, it ought to be compelling for them to want to come back. Nom 6, don't quit until the house is filled. So Jesus kept sending them out until his house was filled. So they came back and wasn't filled. He said, go back out. Imagine if we did that on Sundays. I know that would be crazy. But church isn't filled. Somebody's got to go back out. Let's bring them in another busload real quick. Hurry up. Let's get them in. Now that's what Jesus did. Now you can't quit because you have a down day. We all have down days. Boy, and I know no preacher likes it. It gets under my skin when we have down days. But you must continue to go until it's filled. So filling the house is a godly desire. And you should keep working to fill it until you filled it. So don't quit till the house is filled. 7, when the house is filled, expand the house. I like this one. Never stop trying to reach people. Find a way to bring more people in. Don't ever stop bringing people in. If you have to go to 2 services, go, but expand the house by using it twice. You can double your square footage by using your auditorium twice. You can double your Sunday school space by using the Sunday school space twice. You just have to be creative. And my friend, if we become creative, we may not be able to afford a new auditorium and a new building, but if we use things twice on the same day, then we can fill it. Now, let me just say this. And I say this to you preachers, especially. Some of you preachers, you're saying you're having this number, but you're counting what you're doing on Saturday and through the week. That's not a true number for Sunday. And what you're doing is you're discouraging people who are trying to build a church. We have smaller churches and think, I could never be there. I promise you this, any number that I talk about in our church, it's never on a Saturday. It's always on a Sunday, Now, why Sunday? Because Sunday is the day for church. There's some dishonest numbers, and I'm all for numbers, but there's some dishonest numbers being peddled because we count what happens on Saturday. That is not church, and that is completely against what we preach. If that's the case, then let's start having Saturday church, and we don't believe in that. So why are we doing this on Saturday, my friend? The truth is we've got to be honest with what we have. Who are we trying to impress? Are we trying to make everybody think that we're big or that God's big? God can do it on a Sunday. And on the first day of the week is when they came, not on Saturday, on the first day of the week, the Bible says. Now, after Jesus died on the cross, we go to church on Sunday. That's the number you need to count. Now, on Sunday, let's fill the house. On Sunday, let's do this. Let's have a vision to fill our house. Let's work hard to fill the house. Let's be diligent to invite people. Let's go after everyone we can see to get them in. Let's make it compelling for them to come, whether through promotional programs or through a quality Sunday school class and a quality church service and a quality music program, and everybody doing things first class. Excellence makes it compelling. And then don't quit until it's filled. And then when the house was filled, hey, double your space, expand the house. How? Double the space. Do whatever you can do to make this thing, get this now, a great place that we can fill our house for the glory of God so souls can be saved. I hope that this is a great challenge to you today. Now, let's fill our house. Whoever you are, help your pastor fill the house. Get involved. Let's do it. Let's make it happen, and God will be pleased with that. Well, I hope this is a great help to you today. Now, let's remember today, be good to everyone. Everyone's having a tough